Okay, so here we are back for another episode of F1 at 2015 Career Mode. It's going to be part 15 coming into the last few races of the season, and the championship is heating up nicely. As you can see there, we're 28 points ahead at this stage as we go into the Russian Grand Prix. We're going to be looking at going straight into qualifying here and see where we can get on the grid for this race. Completing our first lap in qualifying here, coming across the line for a 40.8, which is good enough for provisional pole early on in the qualifying session. But obviously what I'm going to do now, something that I haven't done before, is I'm going to give you an idea of what a qualifying lap tends to typically look like when I'm driving around without not doing any of the practice sessions, just a couple of laps during qualifying to try and get used to the car and the track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut up now and leave you with my qualifying lap that I did around this track. This will be my final lap to get me on the grid, so I'll catch you when it is over. So there you go, 39.6, good enough for P1 at the time. And as you can see, as we skip to the end of the session, it was good enough for pole in the end, ahead of our championship rival Lewis Hamilton, nearly 8/10 the gap. As you can see, obviously not a perfect lap by any stretch of the imagination, but that's the sort of thing that I'm looking at doing. And like I say, without practice, only the one or two, or maybe even three runs if needed in qualifying there to get used to the car and track. So a pretty good result there. I don't know if it was just a decent lap or if the AI was struggling at this circuit in particular, but it was good enough for pole position. That's all that matters as we're now heading into the race. Looks like the clouds have gathered once again, so it seems to be a pretty common occurrence at the moment at this stage of the season. But we are P1, that's the main thing. Looking at the strategy there, it's saying it's a two-stop. Obviously, I haven't actually driven around this track, I don't think, at all on any Codemasters games, so I don't know what tyre typically tends to be like. So we'll have to call it on the fly as normal. Might turn into one stop, but for now, we're going to be looking at the start of the race. 5 lights are on, and away they go as we look to manage the wheel spin. Pointing very far towards the right there to cover off Hamilton, but he's managed to get past straight away. As per usual in this career mode, we're down to P2, trying to pick up the slipstream, but Vettel having a look around the outside as well, as we're actually looking like we've got good top end speed here, closing in on Hamilton, edging just past Vettel into the braking zone, and we regain second place, but it's not ideal as Hamilton has managed to pass us on this opening lap, so we need to stick to his coattails and make sure that he doesn't disappear off into the distance. I'm hoping that our qualifying pace was genuine and not just the AI messing up. So we're going to have to see what we can do, try and settle into a rhythm in his opening few laps, and as you can see as we cut to the end of lap 2, that rhythm has indeed been settled into as we set the fastest lap of the race. So it looks like our pace is looking pretty damn good for this race, even at this early stage, and just a lap later, you can see we're right on the back of Hamilton now as we set another purple lap. We've completely dropped the guys behind. You can see Rosberg now 4.5 seconds behind after just 3 laps. But we're going to be concentrating on picking up the DRS and slipstream from Hamilton. Rich mixture now down to stands. We look to go up the inside to take back the lead of the race. We started on pole, we slipped to second, but we are now back up into first place, past Hamilton at the start of lap 4. So now we've got clean air. It's time to see what we can do. But it looks like Hamilton really been irked by that pass and doesn't let go at all. And in fact, he's actually coming back on the second DRS straight. He's going up. What's the inside for that? It's going to be the outside for the hairpin. But that Mercedes straight line speed and his confidence under braking has got in that position straight back there. We can't fight back at all at this stage. Looking to set up a decent run maybe through the final sector, but it wasn't to be. However, sticking nice and close meant that coming into the braking zone, of turn 1 on the next lap. We were close, but not close enough to make a move. However, we've done a little trick here. We've gone right out wide to get the clean air, which then allowed us to take a nice sweeping line to get the undercut and carry the speed through the corner. As we on the exit, we're looking to go up the inside, sort of Raikkonen and Bottas style, but we've done the job properly. Eat your heart out, Kimi Raikkonen. That is how it's done, and that is back into P1 of this race. 5 laps in, or on the 5th lap I should say, as we can see Rosberg looking to actually close in as well a little bit there. But up until sort of lap 12, where we've nearly binned it, as the tyres have completely gone off now. We haven't pitted, so we're looking at doing the one-stop strategy. A few cars have decided to come in. I think it was Vettel and Rosberg are the main ones who are looking at, I believe, 2 stopping. However, ourselves, Hamilton and Raikkonen, looking to complete the one stop. And you can see, although now we're struggling on these tyres, we'd had actually managed pretty well up until this point, building a nice steady gap to Hamilton. However, this final sort of half of the lap on this in-lap looks to really be costing us quite a bit of time. And another dilemma we've got here is that we've never driven this circuit before, so I really don't have any idea how to enter the pit lane, whether it's a fast entry or not. And the very cautious entry has made it so we've lost a fair bit of time to Hamilton. You see he's right behind us now as we're coming into the pit lane, so I'm hoping that Toro Rosso gives us a good stop to get us out ahead. The gap just 1 second, that should be enough to be able to get in and out ahead of the Mercedes. He might get held by Raikkonen, but no, he's out in front, and it's a 2.5. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad, so that keeps us ahead of Hamilton. But what we need to be wary of is Rosberg setting the fastest lap of the race, obviously getting the undercut with those tyres. As we see him coming down the pit straight now, it's going to be very, very close between us, Hamilton and Rosberg. Here we are coming out of the pit lane. The first one up is Hamilton, as we now look to pass him and getting almost squeezed into the wall there. That's unbelievably close for the 2 Mercedes. However, we have managed to keep ahead of Rosberg as he's looking left and right to try and get past. Obviously his tyres are up to temperature and ours are not. As you can see, we've picked up a little bit of understeer on those cold prime tyres. Rosberg looking around the outside, but we've managed to defend that nicely, and we are up into, or remaining in P1. Rosberg now ahead of Hamilton, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. And it looks like Rosberg maybe deploying maybe Mercedes team tactics here to get Rosberg to push his tyres to make us use our fuel perhaps, or push our tyres more, which will then pay dividends to Hamilton later on in the race, as Rosberg now comes flying past us with the use of DRS. But we're not going to be outdone this time by Mercedes. We've learnt a lesson from being overtaken by Hamilton. We've come back up the inside, held it around the outside of the next corner, and we've managed to keep first place from Nico Rosberg for now. But he's been getting very racy these last few laps, and I believe, as we just about managed to avoid the wall there, that he's actually going to be peeling off into the pits. No, he's not, in fact. So he's going for another lap to see if he can put us under pressure once more. As you can see, DRS in activation once again on the back of Rosberg's car. He's looking with a better braking performance from those option tyres to go around the outside, but it doesn't work. And in fact, he's actually blocked his teammate there on the exit of turn 1, or turn 2, however you want to look at it, which is nice for us. And then, obviously, with his tyres dying, he's now coming into the pits on this lap. Obviously, he's dropped back whilst his tyres were fading on that final part of his stint, which has given us, over Hamilton, a 1.6 second advantage to last up until the end of the race. However, on the very next lap, that was not enough. As you see, Hamilton now right back behind us is going to be picking up DRS. So let's have a look with that Mercedes straight line speed, the slipstream, the DRS and activation. We're actually trying a different tactic here. We're going to stay on the racing line and force Hamilton up our inside, which he very much takes the opportunity. However, we've managed to defend that nicely and just blocking the apex through that left hand to make sure we can keep first place. However, just a couple of laps later, we've managed to fend off Hamilton for sort of lap 21 and partway through lap 22. However, he's looking close again, maybe just a lap or so in fuel conservation, giving his tyres a break before coming back at us once more. We're going to look to cover the inside this time, and we're just about going to get the position back under braking. Hamilton keeping it around the outside just like we did a couple of laps later, but he's not able to get the move done into the left-hander. We managed to hold that nicely around the outside once more as we look to keep first place. 19 runners, so we have had a retirement. I don't know who that is at this stage, but it's none of the main runners, I can tell you that much. And then lap 24, just another couple of laps later, we've got a yellow flag up ahead, so something is going on. Looking on the radar in the bottom left, you can see a very slow car up ahead, which looks like it's going to cause some havoc, which is what we don't need, because now Hamilton's charging up behind us with DRS open, even though it's a yellow flag zone. He has backed out of it. It's Ericsson who's going slowly, and he's turned into what an absolute gypsy, complete gypsy. is Marcus Ericsson, and it's a disaster for us. We're down to P2, but now the yellow flags are out, and nobody knows what's going on. Can we overtake? Can we not overtake? Hamilton sort of crashing into a Sauber once more. That's very reminiscent of Suzuka. Stevens, the lap car's done us all. Will the lad Stevens, what a driver. But Hamilton basically back up into first place. We've done a complete 360 there. And it's hurt us quite a lot, but not as bad as it could have been. We're still right behind Hamilton, so we have a chance here. We're going to look to make him maybe down to turn 2, but he's going to have DRS on Stevens. However, coming out the final corner, we've looked to get on the power, and I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if it's tyre wear or just a sudden spike of power, but it's caused us to lose the rear end. And in fact, Hamilton's got away. We're now under pressure from Kimi Räikkönen in the Ferrari. He's coming up the inside. Massive speed differential here. He's going up the inside. Stevens up ahead. Don't know what he's doing there, but we've managed to get the undercut on Räikkönen. Pretty good driving there from us, I have to say, to see that one coming and get the undercut on Räikkönen there to get back up into P2. So rich mixture now for these next few laps to see if we can close the gap to Hamilton at the end. This is just a replay of what happened. So you see Hamilton putting us under pressure with DRS forces us to brake late. Ericsson, who's got a left rear puncture, I thought was going to be staying on the outside there, not taking the racing line, considering he's going about 4 miles an hour. So we've gone up the inside, we've taken a gamble, he's turned into us, and then you can see a massive train here as Ericsson's sort of crawling round. The yellow flags are out, so nobody knows if they can overtake. Hamilton makes a bit of contact with him. Räikkönen's managed to close up nicely as well in that, as you can see, which led to him getting the overtake done on us, but we managed to get that back. However, just a couple of laps later, we have managed to catch right up to the back of Lewis Hamilton once more. Mentioned to keep the rear end in check this time as we start the final lap. You can see the last few laps we caught Hamilton by a second a lap, so his tyres look to have really gone off, and he must be struggling with fuel because you can see just how slow he is, which is not normal for a Mercedes. He's very slow in a straight line, which means we have taken back first place, but with the rear tyres we've managed to lock the rear axle there going into turn 1, which has given us a pretty poor exit. And surprisingly to me, Hamilton was actually able to go back up the inside. We're looking to hold it around the outside, but there's just no grip out here, and Hamilton moves back into first place. So it's all kicking off on this final lap. Changed the position twice already. Will there be one more? We need there to be one more as we look to try and get past Hamilton. Say just, maybe 2/3 of a lap to go now. Räikkönen doesn't look like he's going to be of any danger unless we ever coming together. We just need to stick nice and tight to Hamilton here to try and use the second DRS zone to our advantage. You see, turning the engine up to rich mixture. Hamilton's sliding about, we're sliding about. The tyres are really struggling. Obviously we've done the one stop, so we're really pushing the stint lengths to the maximum. But this is it. This is going to be do or die now. So DRS active. We've got just about enough fuel to run in rich. We're picking up the slipstream. To make sure on fuel, we're going to flick it down to standard as we've got the move pretty much already done, as we're getting very close as we come around that sweeping left-hander up the inside. And we've judged the braking to perfection on these worn tyres. And we are now back into first place. So, just a couple of corners now then, last lap. Can we hold on with the tyres in bad condition? Hamilton's look to be possibly even worse than ours, which is a blessing in disguise. However, we're making our way around these last few 90-degree corners, and it looks like we've got enough fuel. The tyres look like they're going to last. Hamilton is dropping back nicely, and as we round the final corner, that is going to be an eventful Russian Grand Prix over, and that is now back-to-back wins at this crucial point in the championship for Max Verstappen. So, a pretty hairy race, that one, you have to say. The end was just not how you would plan it at all. So you got the incident with Ericsson, Räikkönen coming out of nowhere, and then the last lap, you got 3 overtakes going on the last lap for the change of the lead of the race. So the celebrations kick off, the champagne is flying, and rightly so for Max Verstappen. It's another win to his name this season, and it's more points gained over Lewis Hamilton in the championship. So as these guys pose for their photo, we're going to get a full classification here. So you can see Hamilton coming in second, just half a second behind Max Verstappen. Räikkönen up in third, Rosberg for the other Mercedes down in fourth. But of course that means it's a 7-point advantage to us this time round to add to our previous total in the championship, which means we should, I believe, be leading by around, is it 35 points now? It is indeed. There you can see 35 points as we've got just a handful of races left. So next up is America, then we've got Mexico, Brazil, and the final in Abu Dhabi. So until, what's it going to be? It's going to be America. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time to see what happens in this championship fight.